guess we better call this meeting to order. Okay, roll call.
Blunier. Hilliard.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Mennel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
Parrott. We have a quorum.
Okay, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we proceed further on the agenda, if I may interject, it would be procedurally appropriate for the board to make a motion and followed by a second and a vote to appoint an acting chairperson for tonight's meeting, with the village president and the president pro tem both being absent.
I would make a motion that we make trustee Newman our mayor pro tem for this evening.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We've got that in order. Any public hearings? No, nothing scheduled. Presentations, special reports, nothing there. Any public comments? We have some public here. Hi. Okay. And then we will move to, well, I guess there's no request for removal of any items from the consent agenda, so we'll move to the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes from the last regular meeting of June 17th, 2004, and also for the closed session on June 17th, 2004, and approval of bills.
Move approval. Second.
Roll call.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Village president's in here. And I don't have anything. Village clerk.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village administrator.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Chief of police.
One thing that's not on the agenda, I want to brief the board on a radio project that's been in the works for a couple of years. Prior to second shift this afternoon, we were able to finally switch over to Starcom P25 digital radios. It's something that the board had been asked to approve and fund a couple of years ago when Chief Miller was still the chief of police. So there was a site that needed to have towers and buildings erected on. They have been doing that for the last 2 years. They finally got to the point where there was 7 of those sites erected, and given some failures that we'd had with our EDAC radio system over the last month, we met with the ETSB and we got the approval to move ahead with switching over early prior to the 8th site being completed. So that happened prior to second shift today, and I just wanted to brief you guys on that and let you know that the transition so far has been seamless and everybody's been trained on it and they're using the radios as we speak. And then tomorrow night we'll actually train our auxiliary police on how to use the radios, and given any unforeseen circumstances on the 3rd of July, we'll all be able to communicate on the same frequency during the fireworks event. So I wanted to brief you on that. Thank you for your cooperation and support in the matter. And then also, I think it's a huge step for Tazewell County law enforcement and public safety in general, because it'll give us all the opportunity to have interoperability as far as radio communications go, which I think will make it more efficient, also more safe, and it also will serve to better serve the public, especially if we were to have a weather event or a multi-jurisdictional incident where, you know, we needed comms, and then we wouldn't be using several different radio sources to communicate with one another. So.
Thank you for that report.
Yep.
Okay, Corporation Counsel.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, Director of Fire and Emergency Services.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Okay, Director of Public Works.
Several items tonight, Your Honor. First is item A. It's a resolution approving easement with Trails at Timber Oaks, LLC.
I move to approve.
Second.
This is basically a permanent drainage easement. We've been working, this is on lot 10 of Trails at Timber Oaks. Jim Jacobs, who's the owner or was the developer at the end of Trails, owns several lots. He's made the decision, which is good for us, to build on some of the tougher lots out there. So this being one of them that was really tight, he built a spec. We've worked with them and kind of want to protect our storm sewer and drainage infrastructure there. So they're willing to donate a permanent easement as we work with them. So he has already signed it, so basically we'll sign it and record it if approved tonight.
This was property that was still in the hands of the developer.
Yes, he owns some of the lots out there.
Oh, so he
Yes,
still owns
they
those
kind of
lots
divvied
that
up.
are
Yes,
adjacent to it.
yeah. So Jim owns a lot of the tougher ones. So some of the ones you see being built out there as specs are Jim's on the tougher lots. Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call?
Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel? Yes. Newman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is a resolution authorizing local match to federal proposal for Main Street pavement improvements and shared use path.
Move to approve. Second.
This is something I seek approval. A resolution is required for submittal through PUATS for this project. It's not awarded yet, but I would be presenting as we go forward for this project. And this would be IDOT FY 28, so IDOT FY 25 started today, so we're a ways off. And this would just be funding of construction, so we'd still pay for engineering out of general dollars as a part of this. And this work is a couple different submittals in one. We hope to get everything, but it includes the overlay and patching of Main Street from Jackson all the way to Cortland, or the improvements we just made. And then also separate, but also included, a multi-use path on the west side of Main Street to connect up what we just constructed at Cortland and Main to the south, under Interstate 74, and then eventually to Nebraska. We would work on a crossing to cross Main Street at Nebraska. It's tough to get further south. So essentially that's what this is. Estimate, which is usually conservative, is $4 million, and it's a 70-30 split on the, well, actually it's an 80-20 split, with it being the set-aside project through PUATS. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Would it be possible that this would be broken into separate projects?
Yes, so there's a chance in the submittal, you had to identify, which every community did, if it could be phased or separated. So we did separate it so that we could do the Main Street Bike Trail separate from the Main Street work, if selected. And at that point, I'd have a chance to come back to all of you too with what we were selected for.
Thank you.
So Main Street would be out at from Nebraska on, well, there's a curb and gutter there, but out where the curb and gutter stops, will that be curb going out?
That is, we have put some money in there, but we would still engineer that and see what was more appropriate. We will have to acquire right-of-way on that section of the bike trail, and that was identified in the submittal. And, you know, if it works out, we would do curb, but we'll have to do drainage improvements anyway. There's still a possibility, that's stuff I could work with you guys on, where it could maintain a rural cross-section also with an overlay. But those are things we'll look at. Obviously, we can do curb and gutter, and it works out. That's most likely what we would propose.
And the bike trail going under the overpass, I know there's plenty of room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room on the west side. There's no room on the east side. Yep.
And is that a big deal to get that?
Shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. And this is in our bike trail plan, so that does help us through PUATS. That we've done a lot of planning for this, propose this in the future.
Anything else? Craig, roll call?
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Lastly is item C. This is a resolution authorizing amendment to natural gas management agreement between UGM and the Village of Morton.
Move approval. Second.
Yeah, so they've proposed an increase from 7 cents per MMBTU, which is the unit that we purchase gas in, to 8 cents. And what this approximates to is just this past from May 24th back 12 months. So for a year's time, we had about 1 million MMBTU purchased. And so at 7 cents, what we paid before was about 70,000. So now it goes to 8 cents. It would be about 80,000 for that same amount, which percentage-wise, we pretty much do around 1 million every year. For some reason, it's consistent no matter what. Probably over the last 15 to 20 years, it equates to about 1% of the natural gas cost is UGM to assist us with purchasing of gas. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
See no questions, well, roll call.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Next, zoning code enforcement officer.
We have several items tonight, Your Honor. The first being petition 2402ZA to rezone the lot at 109 West Chicago Street.
Motion.
So moved. Second.
So what we're proposing is rezoning the lot on 109 West Chicago Street, currently zoned B2, and we're looking to rezone that to R1 with the support of the property owner.
Questions? Roll call.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item, Your Honor, is petition 2403ZA. This is the rezoning of the lot at Getz Avenue, just west of town, from split B3I2 to entirely B3.
Move to approve.
Second.
So what this is we've got kind of a unique lot just west of town as you go underneath I-55. The top half is B3, the bottom half is I2. What we are proposing is to have that be entirely B3 to facilitate using that lot for a future tenant.
Questions?
This is very consistent with what we just did there on the corner where Springfield and Clarence opened the building, that same area, just on the other side of the interstate, so seems appropriate.
Roll call.
Newman?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Lastly tonight, Your Honor, we have petition 2404SP. This is for the proposed Love's Fuel Stop, which includes fuel sales, which is required for a B3 fuel station, outdoor storage and sales, as well as RV parking.
So moved to approve.
So with this special use, Love's had their representative Steve Walters come into this planning commission meeting this past Monday to present their plan. It got through the plan commission with no objections. In terms of outdoor sales and storage, they proposed a great letter that we've included in the packet, which kind of details what they want to actually sell outside. I feel like it well defined what their intent was. Just normal consumer goods that you would use along the road.
Questions?
I would like to add, Steve did contact me right before the meeting and had some travel issues today. So he's actually in the air back to Oklahoma City. But he wanted to be here and he wanted me to tell all you guys he wanted to be here. And if you had any questions, he said he would be available now even through Southwest Wi-Fi. But anyway, afterwards, whatever, he really looks forward to coming here and working with us. So on that note, I told him too that we'd be discussing this tonight, and I talked to council today about a development agreement. I know Steve probably have some comments to add to that, but I did mention that to him too, that we'd be getting with him on that.
So did you want to say something first?
Yeah, I can speak to just the applicability of a development agreement to this site. So there's some traffic infrastructure work that's going to be needed specific to the development of this site, which we generally assign and expect the developer to pay those costs. Craig and I also spoke today about some work which may be required to protect our natural gas infrastructure there at the northeast corner of Erie and Getz Avenue. And this is an appropriate case for development agreement, though not, though unique in some regards, in order to kind of tie a tether between the award of the special use, which facilitates the development of the site, and some of the terms we'd like to see in a development agreement. It would seem appropriate to amend the motion to include as a condition of the award of the special use that the village enter into a development agreement with Love's before such time as they'd have a building permit issued, so that we can be assured pre-development that our conditions and our utility requirements and some of the reimbursements or payments we'd seek from them are adequately contractually covered.
So going along with that, I'd like to make the motion that we amend our motion contingent on the development agreement with Love's and the village being agreed to before the special use could be considered approved. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
So one of the things is that what we're saying to them is that we need some things done. They have an agreement, I assume, with the property owners, and this is just saying be cautious. Don't necessarily finish it until we have come to an agreement on what else we're going to have to do. So from that perspective, they'll need to come back and meet with the village for us to tell them what else we think that they need to do.
I do have a meeting with IDOT and our engineer Kurt at Hanson. It's Tuesday afternoon. Love's has submitted their engineer a traffic impact study, which would alter the plans that we've just finished. They haven't gone to construction yet. So those are things that IDOT would get involved in, and we want to give our input on behalf of the village on a few things in terms of a right turn lane, are questioning some of those things, especially in proximity to our gas facilities right there. So we intend to have a productive meeting Tuesday without Love's, and then follow up with them and IDOT after. Hopefully we can find agreement amongst all parties on that. So there should be cost impacts to that too, that they will have to alter the plans that we just completed and some construction items as a part of that.
So we've slightly discussed this in the past, that site, and that's what I was curious as far as traffic. Is that, I think what you just said answered my question, but there will be some significant changes in Birchwood for traffic going in and out of there.
And they were interested, I mean, I assume it's somewhat public, but they were interested several years ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had no plans for the signals. They were going to have to pay for it, was kind of what we were pushing behind the scenes. Never got to this level, and then they walked away. So now that the signalized intersection's almost there, they're very aware of that. Now it's a little easier, less impact to them. So there'll be some modifications to that intersection for sure, whether that's the left turn coming in, extending it on Birchwood, or that right turn coming out, going eastbound on Birchwood due to the amount of traffic that they will generate. Pavement is something Love's is always involved in every community, so there will be studies done to our pavement, the structure in general. We don't believe at this point we'll need to widen the pavement, but that is something that we will continue to discuss. But improving the pavement will almost certainly be something that happens. What that means at this point, I'm not sure, whether it goes to concrete, whether it's another lift of asphalt, I mean, there's a lot of things we will look at with them and share with all of you through the development agreement by the time we're done. Obviously, we'd like to maintain the level of service for the other businesses that are out there, but then that's the challenge, especially when we have our own infrastructure right next door without very much space between the back of curb and our gas building, which we cannot allow. We need to improve that to make it more impact resistant, in my opinion, and Scott's. So it's a delicate one too, to where level of service could be decreased a little bit as a result of what we're trying to protect. So there's a balance there that we're looking at.
There's also the cost for the Erie Birchwood interchange streetlights. The village is paying a portion of that anyway. We got a grant from IDOT. Precision Planning was going to invest a certain amount of money unless we got a grant, and our grant covered their portion, but we still have money to put in for that. So from my perspective, it would seem like we would, one of the things in the agreement we want to make is that they at least pay some additional funds for the stoplights that we're paying to go in.
You said streetlights, and I wondered if it was.
Yes, stop,
And those, I mean, our improvements at Erie Birchwood clearly got expanded, working with IDOT. They want to take care of some things. The proximity to the ramps caused us to take our improvements even to there. So on the other project, we were awarded a $2 million EDP grant, which really went to both projects, not just Erie Birchwood. So I think that's important to say that we don't know the price of Flint yet, which is going to surpass that number. And then we got a $68,000 TARP grant that went to both projects too.
Right.
But then IDOT expanded this. So what we thought would be $1 million intersection, I think, is going to eclipse that by quite a bit with street lighting, expanding it to the ramps. So there's some significant investment that the village will still put in between both of those projects. So I think the Love's impact really is something that, we've been successful working with Precision Planting and others, and I think they're open and willing, but those are still tough discussions as we go forward to make this happen.
Other discussion or questions? So we need a vote on the motion to amend. Roll call, motion to amend.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach. Yes. Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Amendment carries.
Now we need a vote on the motion as amended. Roll call.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach. Yes. Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Could you read that one more time? So that's approval, contingent on an agreement,
Development agreement.
basically an agreement of a development agreement.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Before the special uses officially.
Because I'm going to share that with Steve
Right.
tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
Clear as mud. All right. Village trustees have any comments?
Just thinking about the Love's thing. And I don't know anything about their company, but as I travel around, it seems like they're communicate well. With what they put in the public, it seems like it's a clean, well-run machine. And we could make it work for that piece of property.
Agreed.
I think it's probably good use.
Good location, very good location, as far as being on that side of the interstate.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, I think it just get that area more noticed and continue to keep expanding to the west there, which is why we don't need a solar farm.
Yes.
And with that, I guess we have no closed sessions, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Roll call.
Hilliard.
Roll call.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Motion carries.